So if we know this side, what are we going to do to find this side right here? Good. Multiply by the square root of 2. Just multiply it by the square root of 2. And whenever I say knowing this side, I'm talking about this side, talking about the length of this side right here. You know the length of that side. To find the length of this side, you multiply by the square root of 2. Okay, and then if you know, like this side right here, if you know the hypotenuse, okay. So if you know this side, to find this side over here, what do? You divide by the square root of 2. Okay, so that's all you got to think about is multiply by the square root of 2 or divide by the square root of 2. And then also remember the two legs are always going to be equal to each other. Two legs are always equal on this 45, 45, 90. So on this first one right here, okay, this side right here is 5. From here to here is 5. So how long is this side going to be right here? It's going to be what? It's going to be 5 also, because the two legs are always equal. So that's just 5.
Teachers, please practice.
Okay, and so to find this side over here, to find this side right here, what are we going to do? Yeah, it's multiply by the square root of 2, just like what this thing said right here. So I'm going to do 5 times the square root of 2. And then if you plug that in your calculator, what do you get as a decimal? Okay, you get 7.07. Okay, on your quiz in just a second, this is the way I'm going to want the answers, is put it like this, like as a decimal, okay? And on them generally, I'm going to want like this, where you have 2 places after the decimal. All right, next one. Okay, I know this side's 15 right here. So from knowing this side, how am I going to find this side? Good, this time I know the hypotenuse. When I go from here to here, I divide by the square root of 2. So I'm just going to type in 15 divided by the square root of 2. All right, just type that in your calculator like that. 15 divided by the square root of 2. And so what I would do on the calculator, you know, is if you push Control Divide, okay, Control, and then push Divide, it'll put the little fraction bar in here like this. And then you can just type 15 on top, and then type the square root of 2 on bottom like that, and just push Enter, and what do you get? 10.66 or 61, okay. And both of those are going to be equal to each other. Okay, on this one, all right, this side is 8 square root of 2, so how long is this side? It's going to be 8 square root of 2. Now, on your quiz in a second, if you want to write, like for this one where these are just exactly the same, you can write 8 square root of 2. If you want to get a decimal, you know, do 8 times square root of 2. Either way is fine on that. And then from knowing this is 8 square root of 2, how am I going to find the hypotenuse over here? Multiply by the square root of 2. So it's going to be 8 square root of 2 times the square root of 2. And what does that give you? 16. And remember, be careful on your calculator because it can happen like this, where you have square root of 2, and then you put the square root of 2 underneath there like that. If it looks like this in your calculator, it's going to give you the wrong answer. Okay, remember, you do not want that square root going over the top of that. It needs to be like this, 8 times the square root of 2, and then you got to push arrow over, and then times the square root of 2 like that. Okay, this is no good. This is the one you want. Bless you. All right. And then this last one. Okay, I know this one is square root of 20. Okay, so is that a leg or a hypotenuse? Hypotenuse. So how am I going to get from the hypotenuse here back to the leg? divided by the square root of 2. So if I have the square root of 20 divided by the square root of 2, all right, what does that give you? It gives you 3.16, and both of these are going to equal to each other 3.16. So again, on this 45, 45, 90, all you have to think about is, do I multiply by the square root of 2 or I divide by the square root of 2? If you know the hypotenuse, you're dividing by the square root of 2. If you know the leg, you're multiplying by the square root of 2. Okay, so we're going to spend one more day on this stuff, and then tomorrow we will start in on the other special right. So basically we're just practicing again some more of the stuff we've been doing, although I'm going to add a little bit of stuff to it. Okay, so again, real quick, if you know this side and you're looking for this side, you multiply by the square root of 2. If you know this side and you're looking for this side, you divide by the square root of 2. Okay. So on this one right here, if I know this is 5 square roots of 8, how am I going to find this side over here? Divide by the square root of 2. So I'm going to do 5 square roots of 8 divided by the square root of 2. And what does that give you? Gives you exactly 10. So both of those are 10. Okay, on this one, these two sides are going to be equal, so 10 square roots of 2, and then to find this, it's going to be 10 square roots of 2 times the square root of 2, which is just going to be 20. Okay, and then this one right here. So this is the hypotenuse, so we're going to divide by the square root of 2. So 7 square roots of 7 divided by the square root of 2. Is what? Okay, so it's like 17.0958, so it's just going to round to 13.1. Okay, now, on this last one right here, what's going on is we have like 3, 45, 45, 90 stacked on top of each other, okay? And what we're trying to do is eventually get up here to this one. So let's think about this. All right, I know this is 3. So from knowing this side is 3, how can I find this side right here? Times the square root of 2. Good, so I'm going to do 3 times the square root of 2. Okay, good. So this right here is 4.24. Now from there, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to think about this triangle now. Okay, and just forget about the 3 now. Just think about this. I've got this as 4.24. Okay, good. So I'm going to do that times the square root of 2. 4.24 times the square root of 2. Okay, and actually, what'd you say it was? Okay, and that's actually going to get, if you were to use the exact one, that would actually get you all the way to 6. Okay, and now, whenever you just think about this triangle right here, this bigger one, it's going to work. Okay, that one up there. Okay, you know that this is 6. So what do you know about this side right here? It's the same thing as that right there. So that's it right there, 6. Okay, and so that's the answer. It's 6. So it's just having several of them stacked and just doing several of them in a row. Okay, on the back. It says find the length and width of a square whose diagonal is 14 square root of 2. Okay, so we've got this square and the diagonal, which is this line that goes like this. I mean, it could go like that, or it could run like this. Either way, it doesn't matter, as long as it's cutting across there diagonally. It says find the length and width of the square whose diagonal is 14 square root of 2. So this is 14 square root of 2. Now, if you think about this, okay, in a square, okay, it says this is a square. This angle right here is 90 degrees. And we know that this side and this side are equal. So right here with the square, whenever it's split like this, it actually makes a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Right, so if I just kind of redraw that, just to eliminate the other stuff so you can see exactly. This is 14 square root of 2. And I'm looking for this, because this is going to be like the length of the square, and this is going to be like the width. Like right here is the length and the width of the square. So now if you just think about the 45, 45, 90 triangle, is this the leg or hypotenuse? It's the hypotenuse. And so when I know the hypotenuse, how can I find the leg from that? Divide by the square root of 2. So 14 square root of 2 divided by the square root of 2 is what? It's 14. And that's the answer right there. The length is 14. The width is 14. Okay, next one says find the perimeter of a square whose diagonal is 14. Okay, so exact same idea here. You've got this square where the diagonal is square root of 14. So if I know this is square root of 14, how am I going to find the length of this side right here? Divide by the square root of 2. Good. So I'm going to do square root of 14 divided by the square root of 2. And what does that give you? 2.64. Okay, now if you think about it on this square, all the sides are going to be 2.64. That's the way a square is. All the sides are the same. And this says to find the perimeter. So what does perimeter mean? It means add up all the outside edges. So I'm going to add up 2.64, 2.64, 2.64, and 2.64. I'm going to add that up 4 times. 2.64. 4 times, and what does that give you? About 10.56 centimeters. Okay, next one says find the area of a square whose diagonal is 9 square root of 2. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to this again. The diagonal is 9 square root of 2. Oops. Okay, so this is 9 square root of 2. So how am I going to find the length of this side again? Divide by the square root of 2. So 9 square root of 2 divided by the square root of 2 is what? Is 9. So again, this is a square. All the sides are 9. This one says to find the area of the square. So we haven't really talked about that this year, but it's really simple. Does anybody remember how you find the area of a square? Okay, you just do length times width. That's all there is to it. So just length times width. So 9 times 9 will give us the area. What's 9 times 9? It's 81. So 81 meters squared. Okay, now number 16. Find the perimeter of a square whose diagonal is square root of 6. So the diagonal is square root of 6. To find this side over here, we're going to divide by the square root of 2. So square root of 6 divided by square root of 2 is what? Yep, 1.73. And so this one is asking for that perimeter. So it's adding up all 4 of those sides now again. So it's going to be 1.73 plus 1.73 plus 1.73 plus 1.73. Or 1.73 times 4, but what does that give you? 6.92. Okay. So on your assignment, in just a second, you're going to be doing the exact same thing. It follows exactly from what we did. On these, you'll just be finding the missing sides here. Just find it decimals. There'll be 2 problems like we did on the front there. And then these problems that follow exactly like we did there.